Writing prompt. A broke adventurer has to buy cheap, terrible items with weird curses on them. Little do they know that those cursed items happen to synergize so well together that they quickly become overpowered. Back again? The shopkeeper shook her head sadly and propped her cherubic face up in both hands. Maybe you should have just saved up for some quality purchases. Fire gems are 50% off for the holiday season. Roy's cheerful expression never faltered. It's all right, Meg. You know what they say. Fear the man who has practiced one move 1,000 times, not the man who's practiced 1,000 moves once each. Huh? Meg spat a toothpick out of her mouth and shifted over the bin of her cheapest wares. Don't you have it wrong. You're the one boy in 1,000 cheap trinkets. Roy's eyes lit up. There was something that called out to him about the discarded, the forgotten. The items glanced over in disinterest. Plus, they were all he could reasonably afford. It would cost me 2,000 cheap trinkets for one of your good ones, he retorted. I'll take quantity over quality. Besides, that statement just means I need to practice 1,000 moves 1,000 times each. As he left her his meagre earnings for the day, Meg's voice fluttered into his ear. I don't think that's how it works. Bah! Doubters and haters had always plagued him, battered him with the storm of discouragement. Condemnations like, you'll never avenge your sister, and it's suicide to go against the king, washed off him like water off a duck. After a slim dinner of leftover scraps, Roy slipped into the dark forest, finding the usual clearing where he could practice undisturbed. His heavy, threadbare jacket, the only thing he had of actual worth, hid a myriad of baubles and charms like the ornaments of the New Year tree. There was a small metal candle that could only produce the tiniest of flames. There was the small thimble that only protected one finger very well. Tiny curses, tiny shifts in the fabric of reality. Still, they were magical. Come on, Roy whispered. The prayer hung in the air like the misty evening dew as he dug through the day's haul. Meg was kind to him. As long as he paid her regularly and never returned anything, he got the bare-bottom wares that no one else cared for. Somewhere, somehow, there had to be a way to make these trinkets work together. Not this one, he said, tucking a glass bauble into a free pocket. This one only works a day a week. Not this one either. This one only gives a slight trickle of power. Still, he wouldn't give up hope. There were strong enchantments too. The scrying glass held underneath his left eye was one such overlooked enchantment. Its only ability was to appraise the most minor of charms, but since all he dealt with were minor charms, it was coming in handy. Surely. Wait. Rewind time for 1 second. One-time use. The mini hourglass, bearing a single grain of sand, lay there in his palm. With trembling fingers, Roy dug into one of his older pockets and reprised an old friend, a small glow stick. Allows repair of a minor charm. One-time use. It wasn't just that. There were other such one-time use items, such as minor curse boosters, duration extenders, none of it considering the implications of what if there was an item that could revert the state of the world? A smile crossed Roy's face as a plan took shape in his mind. With a small tube of gel that he acquired last week, he applied a minor curse enhancer to extend the effect. Now the hourglass read differently.
Rewind time for 10 seconds. One-time use.
He activated it, feeling the runes pulse and shake. The world split open and transported an astral projection of himself back 10 seconds. He appraised the hourglass again.
Rewind time for 10 seconds. Already used.
Roy's heart leapt up into his throat. Of course! There was one thing that had to keep its state other than his memories. The hourglass itself. He reached into his pocket for the gel which hadn't technically been used yet, and applied it again before repairing the hourglass with the glow stick.
Rewind time for 100 seconds. One-time use.